Hello everyone and welcome to the Los Angeles Open Series. I'm Glenn Jones and I'm joined by Jonathan Jobe. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty well, All
right, well you came with a pretty unique deck. It plays a lot of cards that we've seen before in Pro Tour winning decks, if anyone happens to recall. You've got Master of Waves, you've got Thassa, you've got your Frostburn Rage, you've got your Night Veil Specters. Nothing too unusual to see there. But you've put all of this into an Esper shell that looks basically like a hybridization of the Mono Blue Devotion deck and Esper Control.
Pretty much. Basically, it all stemmed from my absolute love of drawing cards, and I really wanted to put Nykthos in the deck with Sphinx's Revelation, and I was trying to figure out how to do that. And so we started with the Mono Blue shell just because it's the best way, obviously, to draw cards is in the blue. And we started out with tinkering with a little bit of white, and there. And we found that we were still running into a little bit of problem matchups. We had 4 Detention Spheres in there, but that sometimes it just wasn't good enough when you were dealing with the Planeswalkers.
Sure.
And so we decided to just throw in the black in there for a little bit of Thoughtseize and a little bit of spot removal out of the board to help you deal with Mistcutter Hydra.
Oh, okay. I like the Detention Sphere. Obviously, the Mono Blue deck had basically no removal, right? It had like Tidebinder Mage for red and green creatures, and that's it. And you are actually, with 4 Detention Spheres, can kill just about anything, especially a lot of the threats that are plaguing people in this one.
Very much so.
Okay. And you mentioned Thoughtseize. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that too, mostly because I like the idea of playing Master of Waves and Thoughtseize together.
Yeah, no.
It's
being able to clear the way, or seeing, because Master of Waves, while very powerful, is fragile in his own right, and the fact that he dies, all the rest of his friends die with him. So actually being able to clear the way or just make sure that it's good, it's worked out really well.
Okay, all right. Well, shifting gears, the black gives you access to a lot of other stuff as well, obviously. You're boarding some Doomblades, Ultimate Presses, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's, again, an option the Mono Blue deck just didn't have access to. So you can actually get those aggressive matchups, like, really under your thumb. You already had Frostburn Weird, so I imagine it's those decks are just walks in the park at this point.
Pretty much. The aggressive decks are just really easy. The thing that I love about it is the Mono Blue Mirror matchup is actually just incredibly easy. Just because of the fact that you have access to Thoughtseize, so you can see what their game plan is. And then with the Detention Spheres to deal with the Bidence, which most of the time changes the race a lot. And then a lot of times you also kind of get into this little top decking war, and I have Sphinx Revelation as a top deck. And they're not really there. They draw things like Cloudfin Raptor, which just doesn't exactly cut the mustard.
Yeah, all the cards in your deck, you have all the cards that are good in their deck in your deck as well, and then where they have things that are a little you've actually replaced it with real Magic cards.
Exactly.
Like the Tidebinder Mages and Cloudfin Raptors, you have, the Spheres and whatnot, like you said. Okay. Another option that Black has given you is a card Shine Serrani's kind of panned recently, but you're sideboarding 3 copies, and that's Ashiok Nightmare Weaver. So first off, what was Ashiok's role in the deck, and do you still like it?
The reason Ashiok was really in the deck originally was because when we played against Mono Black, we determined that when we originally tried to do it, we tried to move into more of a control-ish Esper type build, and that really just wasn't working out for us. That's just kind of what the deck's designed to just be. And then so we decided that we wanted to become as threat dense as possible.
Okay.
And basically, the first turn you use Ashiok, if you're lucky enough to hit a Desecration Demon, you can immediately slam it into play, which will help you deal with their Desecration Demons. And then on top of it, just limiting their threats, just by milling them here and there, and they really just don't have a good answer to it. Other than trying to attack it with stuff like that, when you have your own Detention Spheres and Wrath of Gods and stuff like that, it just makes it so much easier to defend.
Sure, the black deck definitely wants to play a bit of a longer game, and you're built to draw it out. The problem is that when you get to the long game, the black deck's actually the one who's probably going to win.
Exactly.
But with Ashiok on your side, you actually have a way to steal their creatures, generate more threats.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, we actually won a game against Mono Black when he was at 4, and I hit him with a Night Veil Specter. I put an Underworld Connections on my land, and then I used Ashiok to put a Grave Merchant into play, and I actually killed him that way, where I actually got him for 5 with Devotion. It was just kind of an interesting way to win.
Very nice. All right, well, how have you done in the Standard Open so far?
Right now, I just picked up my 2nd loss, unfortunately. I knew Mistcutter Hydra was going to be a problem coming into the day.
Sure.
And it just, playing against Mono Green, I ended up in a board position where I had Green Red, not Mono Green. And I had Master Waves out, and I was feeling real confident about it. And I had a Detention Sphere in my hand, and they did the big red-green thing there.
Got cut.
Yeah, where he had no cards in hand, he drew for his turn. And I think he actually generated 16 mana off of Nykthos with 2 of the guys and stuff. And then he's just like, yep, Mistcutter Hydra for 15, get ya. I'm just kind of standing there. I'm like, yep, that card's really good. I just didn't happen to draw one of my Doomblades or my ultimate prices, unfortunately. So.
Well, you're still competing for top 16 finish, and I'm sure you'll be tuning this deck a little bit more. After all,
Yeah.
you've got a Las Vegas Invitational coming up.
Got an
not too-
invitational
not too
coming
far.
up, the GP in Albuquerque. I think I'm going to take
Yeah,
something
okay.
like that as well. If I was to tune it a little bit more, the Ashiok, while good, I think if we're going to go more threat dense, possibly I'm probably going to try and find some ways to put Blood Baron in the sideboard, as well as right now I have the big 5-drop Jace, and against the monstrous red-green deck, I really think because I have enough groundswell in the early game that the game kind of draws out. I have 3 Wrath of Gods in the main, and I really think I want to try and find room for 2 Elspeths.
Okay, interesting. That's certainly a threat.
Yeah.
Qualifies.
Yeah. So just because like we end up with kind of in these weird board states where like I have a Thassa down, so they can't really attack through it, and a Night Veil Spectre, and like Master of Waves, so they've got a bunch of chumpers. And the beauty that about the reason I kind of thought of it in reverse was when I was building the deck, I was like, I love the deck because Elspeth does nothing to it. Like, great, I make 3/1/1s. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm playing 4 Jaces in the main, and I have Master of the Waves, and like actually it just doesn't kill any of my creatures. And so I unfortunately didn't playtest them for the tournament, and I didn't put it on the flip side where it was, oh, well, I could play Elspeth because it actually has no negative impact on my deck.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing the evolution of this build. Good luck in the remaining rounds of the standard.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah.